entertainment. So I can see that you have definitely a passion for the entertainment industry in particular, because it's just coming out whenever you speak about it. That passion is just ebbing through. But what response do you have, first and foremost, to those who say that entertainment is only for those who are brain dead? It is not as intensive on your brain as, for example, being a lawyer, being a doctor or whatever, because I'm pretty sure there are people out there who are just willing, they're sitting on that comment section of YouTube, that comment section, doing nothing with their lives, just waiting for someone to slip up on these videos like the ones we're recording now, and waiting to sink their teeth into everything that you've said. So to start off with, what response do you have to those people who say that, look, yes, you may be like inspiring other people, you may be expressing your creativity that way, but you're not doing anything that's sustainable. Entertainment is very wish-washy. It doesn't have consistency in that stand, because as an artist, as a, for example, a poet, as you mentioned, you can't just keep doing the same things and expect to stay relevant for 30 years down the line. And at the same time, you can't also do something like, as a playwright, I cannot just rip off Shakespeare and expect myself to succeed. In fact, that's probably the end of my career, and I've said this before on the other episode we had with Mr. Kleinans. So with this very competitive industry that at the same time is not very stimulating on the brain, why should we at all get into the entertainment industry to begin with?
You know, as I always say, life is about choices. In fact, it's not what I say, it's what most of the people out there would say. Life is about choices, really. So people choose the entertainment they want to receive, right? It's just a matter of you sieving through what you want. Because if I was to quote one of my favorite rappers, J. Cole, he says, American hypocrisy, they came here in search of freedom but ended up owning slaves. And that's like the most truest stuff that you'd ever come across. So it depends on who you listen to. It depends on the type of entertainment that you're allowing to come through to your playlist, to your whatever it is, to your YouTube downloads. It depends on choices. It's all a matter of choices. And I wouldn't really disagree with that. Entertainment today is really making people brain dead, because if you were to look at these current songs of Lil Uzi Vert, the Lils, in fact, all the Lils out there, they're just making people brain dead.
Shots fired.
It's not really shots, I'm just being honest. They're making people brain dead out there, because I feel like we need to have entertainment that's authentic. We need to have poets, rappers, musicians that actually touch the core of issues, if you understand what I mean. We need people that address situations that we're facing, not people that will be talking about flexing with their monies, their girlfriends, their glass houses. That's not entertainment. In fact, this is programming our minds to be stupid. Yeah, if I may say, to be brainwashed, like you're saying. So.
Oh, excellent. And to kind of carry on from this, I know there are a lot of Muslim people who always ask, what is this podcast about? And I'm repeating myself for the third time here. I should have put this disclaimer out at the beginning. My mistake for not doing it, but I give people heart attacks just by existing. So if you have been offended by anything that he just said, you have my full permission to go over there, have a heart attack and die. And I'm not going to pay your medical bill, so it's not like it really affects me anyway. But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned this, that you mentioned that a lot of popular entertainment today is just there to dumb people down. And the objection you'll get from a lot of Muslims is that the popular opinion, and I don't want to start this debate now, but the popular widespread opinion is that music is impermissible. So most Muslims, or devout Muslims, people who are trying to be practicing Muslims, will not listen to musical instruments of any kind, whether it has a good message or not. Okay? So for those people, we are not saying that you must go and start listening to musical instruments right here and right now. That is not the message behind this. You can even rewind to what he just said and how he has expressed his desire to up the game. It doesn't always have to be with music. Even poets who are spoken word, at least they should up their game and talk about things that are relevant to our society without it just being about drugs, sex, and rock and roll. And yes, I said the S word, so what? I don't care. Drugs, sex, and rock and roll is not going to cut it for our generation, because we are getting more woke, as the term is, the popular term is, as much as it has been, appropriated by other people with other agendas. And I think that the takeaway, once again, as I've said countless times on this podcast, and I'll reiterate again today, we as Muslims, I'm speaking as a Muslim myself, who has for a very long time upheld that position of not going down with musical instruments. We have to grow a backbone. Just because my friend over here is talking about music himself doesn't mean that I'm going to go and start listening to music as soon as we're done with this. That's not how it works. We are able to take ideas from other people, decipher them, and then apply them in our own lives. So here our brother has expressed his desire to up the game and up the ante to see how we can actually have art, entertainment, which speaks to people on the everyday street, and at the same time also has a way of stimulating our brains. And if I can give examples from the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, whom we as Muslims revere, we see that they, as the Arab society, they had basically refined the Arabic language to its pinnacle. Even today, when you're studying Arabic, you study conversational Arabic, which is if you want to go to an Arabic country, for example, and have a conversation with the waiter at the restaurant, that's one thing. But to study, for example, the Quran or study any of the pre-Islamic poets of Arabia, you have to study what is called Al-Arabiyatu Fusha, which is classical Arabic, which is something else entirely. And these companions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, very much loved and indulged in poetry. And there was nothing wrong with indulging in poetry so long as that poetry wasn't calling openly to immorality, although of course scholars have gone into various discussions of what exactly immorality is, and I'm kind of rambling here. But the fact is that art was important to the society that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, lived in, and it was important to many of the great Islamic empires, be it the Persians, be it the Spaniards in Andalusia, be it the Mughals when they conquered Southeast Asia or wherever that was. All these people had elements of art because art is an important facet of our society. And I said this in my Howl's Moving Castle review, that we have to get more creative and be able to express our frustrations. Well, not just our frustrations, other emotions as well. But coming to that, you know, if I look at myself and the type of entertainment I consume, yes, there are times when I want to be intellectually stimulated, but other times I will, for example, watch a cartoon which I know is absolutely ridiculous and makes zero sense, but it's funny. So that's why I will watch it, because I just had a bad day and I want to laugh at something. What's your take on this, if we can get to the next subject?
Okay, speaking of cartoons, it reminded me of a time when I was doing Form 3 in junior schools, Palape Junior Secondary School. There was a time when they extended our study, right? So we got out of school at 5:30, and I was a Tom and Jerry fanatic that time. I really loved Tom and Jerry with all my heart, and I remember it played at 4 p.m, right? But our study knocked off at 5:30. At most times, being the president, I was actually the SRC president at that time. So being the president, having to lead by example, I was in like a moral dilemma there, having to go watch my favorite cartoon, my favorite anime of all times, or staying in school to study. Or, you know, I guess you know the answer. I did bunk school and go watch my favorite anime. I did it all the time. But anyways, I'd advise you to go listen to good music though, because music varies. There's like music that you can listen to soothe your soul. There's music that you can listen to if you want to be intellectually stimulated, right? You should listen to music, Mr. Mostakim. It's a very nice aspect of life, because some of us actually get consoled by music, if you get what I mean. But on a different topic, to me, entertainment is not just about having to groom creatives and having to bring people out there. No, it's also a matter of opportunities. Because if you realize it, I was actually taken aback by the statistics I saw last time. We have close to about 325,000 unemployed people in Botswana. 325,000. In a mere population of 1.7 million people, we have 325,000. How amazing is that? So it's a matter of opportunities, right? If you go to South Africa, you'd see that there are a lot of talk shows, and basically there are a lot of shows that involve people, shows that hire crews, shows that actually bring employment to the people. And when you come to our country, the only shows that you can look at are those of BTV, where we have one person doing the same thing, or where we have Lefatshe le Tlotlo all the time. No pun intended, but I'm just being honest here. Sometimes we need to grow, we need to change, and sometimes I feel like our country is actually fighting that change. Well, it's upon us as the young people that are coming from in my generation to actually change that. which is why I'm so hell-bent on entertainment, because I feel like life is really about entertainment, because it's with entertainment that news are transferred to the people, information is given out, people get taught. Basically, entertainment is the core of life. It's the backbone of life, like you would say. Entertainment is everything, which is why I have a very heartfelt position towards entertainment.